Going to start things off by talking about everybody's favorite topic, refereeing. Howard Webb did his mic'd up show with Michael Owen and had this to say about the Virgil van Dijk disallowed goal at the weekend.
That's quite a picture.
That's a very picture. It's very James Bond-esque. It's no surprise that some people thought this goal should have stood. Only Donnarumma truly knows if he was impacted by this. The VAR determines that the decision is not clearly and obviously wrong, so stay out of it. The assistant referee talks about ducking below the ball, being close to the goalkeeper. That could be enough to penalize a player for being offside, even if the keeper can see the ball all the way along. That could still cause hesitation to the goalkeeper. All right, so let's bring in Don for this one. Don, what are your thoughts on this explanation?
I'll tell you what's wrong with it. All of that wording that was just read out by you there, Alexis. I mean, we were never that far away when handball was accidental or intentional. We were never that far away. How can an offside decision be all of a sudden, over the last 18 months, now be called subjective? You can have subjective offside. Let's just make it black and white. If you're offside, you're offside. There's too much waffle. There's been so many incidents that have been put up on social media since that goal was disallowed. There's been so many, because the word subjective just means it's going to be very inconsistent. It's just going to be how you read it, how you see it. It's a law that just doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. Let's just call it how it is, make it easier for fans, make it easier for referees to allow them to be more consistent. If you're standing in an offside position and someone has a shot and you're interfering with the goalkeeper, you should just be offside. Keep it simple, guys.
Jules, what do you think?
I think he was embarrassed by the decision and doesn't really know what to say. I think it's pretty clear from what he said on the show, the could and would and maybe not. It's not a mistake, but it could be a mistake. I can see why people say it's a mistake, but it might not be a mistake. And even himself confuses himself, I think, in this whole explanation. The fact is, Donnarumma sees the ball from the beginning to the end. Andrew Robertson, if he was there or not there, doesn't make any difference whatsoever to where the ball is going, what Donnarumma can do, what the City defense can do. There's no impact at all from where what Robertson is doing, from where he's standing, as we see now on the footage. This is why it's such a big mistake, and Howard Webb knows it. He's just trying to defend his referees again, but even his own explanation is not that clear, and to be fair, not that convincing at all, I think.
Yeah, we got two intelligent minds there, Ale, and you are third intelligent mind. Make sense of this for me.
Well, here's where perhaps Howard Webb could have gone in the direction of saying, listen, if you have a player, in this case Andrew Robertson, that is better off by just standing still and not ducking, then maybe he has an argument in regards to whether he interfered Donnarumma or not. Mm-hmm. So basically we're asking Andrew Robertson that if he just stands still and doesn't move, the ball doesn't hit him, and Donnarumma has seen it all the way through, then he's not offside. The moment he decided to duck, then that brings all of this discussion into play, and it also brings a loophole in which Howard Webb can get right inside that loophole, get really comfortable, cozy with a nice blanket and a cup of tea. It's like, see, in this loophole, nobody can get me. Yeah. Right in this moment, it's so warm here, it's so comfortable here, and so I can talk in circles all I want, and yet nobody can come and get me here, because this, as Don just mentioned, is subjective.
It's all relative now.
It's up for interpretation. It's how the assistant referee and the referee himself, what they saw and how they interpret it. And according to their interpretation, if you actually go by the fact that Andrew Robertson thought that the ball was going to hit him, therefore he ducked, in him ducking, he's participating in the play, and then they come to what they consider to be the correct decision.
Don, what do you think the right call should have been then? Was it offside for you?
No, it can't be. I mean, Ali's just explained it there, but what Ali's sort of saying, and I know he's saying it in tongue in cheek about Andrew Robertson not ducking down, but that's what Howard Webb has not read into, because he's more or less saying, Andy Robertson, I have got no involvement here whatsoever, guys. I'm just going to duck down just to double prove I want no interest in this ball. right? So he can't be offside. He's not interfering with Donnarumma. The initial header from Van Dijk, Donnarumma actually thinks he's going to his right-hand side. So it got broke down on TV over here, where he actually took a step to his right-hand side, and then he has to try and rebalance and go with a high dive towards his left-hand side. So he was never ever getting there. He didn't have an impact. Andrew Robertson didn't have an impact on where or what Donnarumma was doing. And like I said before, there's been a John Stones goal for Man City when Bernardo Silva was standing in front of a goalkeeper, and he actually half-barged the goalkeeper out the way. I think it was against Wolves. There's been so many. There was a goal, I think, for Atletico Madrid, I think, against Liverpool. There was a goal a few years ago that Everton got chalked off, I think, at Goodison against Man United. We've just got to simplify the rules. It's like we've got too many rules, like not clear and obvious, subjective, and it's just a loophole, like the guys are saying, for the referees to have an out. We've got to clarify. We've got to make it really simple and just dumb it down for everyone. You know, make it easier for the referees and the linesmen to go, right, he is offside, let's just put his flag up so everyone knows it, and the game after, they know it, all around, whatever, they know it, it's going to be offside. In the end, it's just a whole load of waffle, like they got themselves in a right mess, like the handball law, and they're trying to dig a little bit, and they're trying to dig a little bit more, but anyone that knows anything about what Andy Robertson was doing was trying to have no impact whatsoever. That's why he ducked down.
Yeah, we're going to make it easy and simple for the peasants like myself in this one. All right. But one thing that's definitely not up for debate is the fact that Julian Nagelsmann has Florian Wirtz's back. We talked about this on the show yesterday because Nagelsmann had this to say about the Liverpool player. Someone could actually convert the chances Wirtz creates at Liverpool once in a while. That would be an idea. He doesn't create very few chances. They just seem to enjoy not putting them away. Well, he may be speaking some truth, because if you have a look at the stats, and Don knows that stats do not lie, he has created 15 chances this season for Liverpool. Well, here's what Stevie had to say yesterday on the show about Wirtz's chances.
I've not missed a second of all Liverpool games this season.
Yeah.
And if he's created 15 chances, then I need to go and change my glasses. I'm sorry, this is totally and utterly just try to prop him up.
Well, Stevie might actually need to change his glasses.
But that's a different conversation.
But that's a different conversation. We're talking about Florian Wirtz and what Stevie had to say there. Don, I know you're a big fan of your stats and whatnot. We saw them there. But you're also probably the second biggest Florian Wirtz defender I think I have seen. We paid attention to your social media account. So what say you about this?
No, I think if you look at the bigger picture, Stevie 100% needs to go and get some new glasses, because he's missed a lot of chances that Florian Wirtz hasn't been given by his teammates. You know, if you go back to the Man United game when Mo Salah had one on his right foot and he shanked one into the top end, there was a 5-yard pass to Florian Wirtz which would have had him a tap in. There's been a couple of occasions in Europe. There was a compilation that got put on X the other day, and I retweeted it, and it was brilliant actually how many chances the other guys should have created for Florian Wirtz. And he has created a fair few. Don't get me wrong, he's been a little bit disappointing. I'm not here saying he's been brilliant. He's had 3 good games in my opinion. I thought he was fantastic against Aston Villa. I thought he was brilliant against Real Madrid. And he wasn't really that bad in a bad Liverpool performance against Man City. But the bigger picture is, his teammates could have put a lot more on a plate for him. He would not be sitting here with 0 assists and zero goals if the players around him had made better decisions.
Jules, who do you agree with, Don or Stevie?
No, I agree with Don. I think Stevie he needs new glasses. He's had those glasses for too long anyway.
He has.
So it's about time that he changes the glasses. Maybe the style as well. I agree with Don. There's one against Chelsea as well, like a backheel pass from Wirtz to Salah in that second half that Salah has to score. Really, it's a goal that he scored so many times in his career. So that's where I feel a bit. Of course, Wirtz still has a lot of work to do to integrate himself even better in this team and adapt better to the Premier League. But I do think that by now he should have had 2 or 3 assists in the Premier League, certainly from what we've seen him play, even being so far away in a way to his best level.
And whether you agree with Jules, Don, or Stevie, I think we miss the point if we don't actually address the fact that Julian Nagelsmann, all he is doing is, this guy's with Germany right now. I need him to be at his best with us. This is all I care about. Whenever he leaves this camp of Germany and goes back to Liverpool, I wish him well, but whatever he does over there has no bearing as to what he does here. So I need him at his best here. So I'll find any sort of way to create an environment and a rhetoric that is far more positive surrounding than the player. I need Florian Wirtz to be flowing, baby. I need Florian Wirtz to be flying.
Man management.
I need him to be in this space, in that space. Come and get the ball here. Go get the ball over there. Go assist a goal there and go score yourself over there. That's what I need from him over the next 10 days. I don't care what happened before this or what happens after this. I need him at his best right now. And so therefore, look, this is all Liverpool's fault. All the other players, the guys that are not creating chances or the guys that he creates chances for, they're not scoring. None of it had to do with actually Florian Wirtz assuming some responsibility and saying, whether he has created enough chances or not, whether he should have scored or not, at this point, given the amount of appearances that he's had for Liverpool, there should be a goal, there should be an assist. He was brought in as an attacking player that should have an impact for this team, and he is among the issues, not the most important, but among the issues that Liverpool has had in the attack, that they haven't found a consistent performer. Not from Wirtz, not from anybody else for that matter.
Well, funny you should say that, because I was going to say, in Wirtz's defense, it's not like he's the only signing or new signing at Liverpool that is having some trouble. Just look at this graphic. I mean, Alexander Isak, so far, that was a big money signing. Only 1 goal and 1 assist so far. Hugo Ekitike has probably been the bright spark, but the big point is look at what Luis Diaz is doing at Bayern Munich. He's just absolutely outshining all 3 of their contributions combined. So, Don, looking back at this, Liverpool should have just stuck with Luis Diaz?
No, they couldn't, Alexis, because he was the one that wanted to make the move. He asked for the move the season before, and Liverpool asked him to stay on, and he did stay on for 1 more year, but he was the one that really pushed. I mean, when I read the news without knowing that he was the one that wanted the transfer, and it was Gakpo or Diaz going to Bayern, I was going, well, please be Gakpo, because Luis Diaz was sensational last season with Liverpool in a position that he didn't really play in. Some of his best performances actually came as a false 9. I remember him down at Tottenham, I think, when they won 6-2 and he played as a false 9, and he was outstanding. So Arne Slot relied on him in the very big games to play that number 9, because he had a few strikers at the time like Darwin Núñez who couldn't hit the ground running, and he was very trustworthy being that false 9. But I think when you look at it, it's obviously a half mistake in letting him go, because he's a brilliant player and he's hit the ground running and he is so good, and he's only going to get better. But unfortunately, it's one I think that Liverpool fans have to swallow, because the player actually asked for the move, not the other way around.
Jules, what do you think? Do you think Liverpool are going to live to regret letting him go, even if he was pushing the move?
No, I agree with Don. I think he wanted to move. Ideally, they would have kept him, of course, but he really wanted to move. The offer on the table from Bayern was a very good offer. And there's no point keeping a player who doesn't want to be there anyway. So I think they took the money. They also saw in Gakpo and Wirtz and different options on the left-hand side, Chiesa, Rio and Gomo as young players, things like that, to think, okay, we should be okay without Luis Diaz and all his talents. And it's a bit harsh to compare what Luis Diaz has done in this wonderful flying Bayern team compared to the Liverpool new signings and team that is not working right now. But it's true that the impact that Luis Diaz has had on Bayern, nobody else amongst the Liverpool new recruits has had a similar impact.
Is the last game were you surprised with the physicality of Sunderland?
No, we knew the physicality, but obviously they are a very, very strong team. They knew their strengths, and we knew what they were capable of. That they're going to fight until the end, and of course they scored in the last few minutes, where it's a very, very disappointing moment for us. But no, we weren't very surprised.
Is that the first team that could sort of match Arsenal's physicality?
I think in the Premier League anyone can match the physicality. It's just the way they play, the way they approach the game, and they know their strengths. They just come up from the Championship, and obviously that league is very, very physical. So no, it's just credit to them. They're doing a really, really good season. Where they haven't lost a game at home, and they've been beaten and gained points from the big teams. So full credit to Sunderland. They're a tough team to beat.
Okay. What's like playing behind that team with such a dominant back four?
Oh, it's incredible. Everybody is talking about the back four and everything, but it's a credit to the whole team, starting from the striker and ending up in the goalkeeper. I think it's a credit to everyone when we press, when we do the right things, and of course, if we have to sit deep and wait to get the ball out of that phase. everybody defends. So it's a credit to the whole team.
Do you guys talk about finally winning the title, or is something nobody will say?
No, it's something that of course we are Arsenal and we want to win the Premier League. Of course we want to win everything. That's why we play for Arsenal. But it's something that is too far. We are only 10-11 games in the season, and it's too far to think ahead. We just have to think game by game and day by day, and we will see where we are in May.
Okay, for Spain, the style is different, but the results are the same. How do you feel? How do you see the difference?
No, it's a different type of environment. It's a different type of football where you play at club level and international level, in my opinion. But it's incredible to be part of this team. Is the players, the staff, everything, the surroundings, the fans, is representing your country in such a big country and such a good country. It's incredible. It's a dream come true. But no, it's incredible to be part of this team.
Is it hard to maintain focus when sometimes the ball does not come your way for long periods for both teams?
It's part of the job. It's part of being a goalkeeper. It's part of being in an environment that we dominate the ball a lot during the long phases of the game, and it's that communication, it's that focus on the ball why it makes you be concentrated in the 100 minutes of the game. So you cannot switch off as a goalkeeper at any time, at any point of the game. You can maybe call open to make a save, to come for a cross, to run, to get a ball in behind. So you have to be focused all game.
Okay. Do you and your Arsenal teammates talk about a possible showdown between Spain and England this summer?
There's a lot. It's a long way. Of course, we need to be qualified for the World Cup, and these two big games coming up, and of course we face them in the final of the Euros. We know they are very, very good team with quality players, and they are very, very strong. So hopefully we can be in the final both in the World Cup.
What's like playing behind this current Arsenal backline, and what makes them so difficult to get past?
Well, I think the difficulty is that we love to defend, the love of defending, the love of not conceding, not even goals, not just chances, trying to stop the teams further up the pitch with the pressing that we do, and then if they push us back into a low block, it's just that love of defending to not let the ball go into the box.
Which of Arsenal's new signings have you been most impressed by, and why?
I think Martin Zubimendi, is a player that is very, very clever. He adapted very, very well into the league, where there's a lot of players that it take a little bit longer to adapt, and especially in his role, he's just adapted so quick, and you can see what he does for the team.
Who do you think are Arsenal's biggest rivals for the title this year?
Well, there's a lot of teams that they can fight for the Premier League, and in the Premier League anyone can beat anyone. I've just seen a lot of teams are just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So any team can win the league, to be fair.
Okay. The last in English, how impressed have you been by Max Dowman, and what's like sharing a dressing room with a 15-year-old?
He's 15, he's turning 16 at the end of the year, and he's incredible. Obviously we don't share that much in the dressing room because he's not allowed with the rules and everything. But sharing the pitch is the maturity that he shows on the pitch, the willingness that he has to just to enjoy and to be himself, to take on players, and always with a smile on his face is incredible. Seeing we've been training with him since he was 14 years old, so very, very impressed with him and his qualities as a player.
Mikel Arteta's contradictory comments dismissed after Everton versus Arsenal fixture change. Mikel Arteta has faced criticism from sections of the Arsenal fanbase after the Premier League granted the club's request to move their away fixture against Everton forward by 1 day. However, a closer look at Arteta's statements shows there was no real contradiction in his words, only a misunderstanding of priorities. The change means Arsenal will now face Everton on December 20th, rather than on Sunday the 21st, allowing the Gunners an extra day of rest before their Carabao Cup quarter-final against Crystal Palace. From the club's perspective, it's a sensible move to protect player welfare and performance levels during a congested period. Yet for many supporters, the news came as an inconvenience, and in some cases, a financial burden. Fans who had already booked non-refundable travel and accommodation for the original date could now be out of pocket. In response, Arsenal announced that they would provide coach travel to Liverpool for £10 return, but the gesture didn't stop frustration from spilling over on social media. An Arsenal fixture news account on X, formerly Twitter, at AFC Fixture News, summed up the mood. The away match against Everton has been moved to Saturday, December 20th at 8 p.m. thanks to at Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, and at Sky Sports PL. The last train from Liverpool to London departs at 8:12 p.m. Football for the fans. Replies to the post, from an account with over 40,000 followers, were divided. Some supporters even accused Arteta of contradicting earlier comments where he seemed to emphasize the importance of fan welfare. But is that really the case? Having attended the press conferences where Arteta was asked about the scheduling issues before and after the Crystal Palace quarter-final was announced, it becomes clear his comments were taken out of context. Following Arsenal's win over Brighton in the Carabao Cup fourth round, Arteta was asked whether he feared fixture congestion could become a problem. He responded, "I hope not. If we take care of the well-being of both players and our supporters, we should never get to that point. That's our most important value. We have the best league in the world, and we can't lose that by ignoring what makes it special. If we respect that, I'm sure everything will be fine." This was the first time Arteta mentioned both players and supporters together in this specific context, placing them in the same sentence, not necessarily in the same order of importance. Later, when Arsenal were travelling to Prague for their Europa League win over Slavia, the December 23rd date for the Palace match was confirmed. Asked about the potential scheduling clash, Arteta, visibly serious, said, "Hopefully they move the Premier League game, because it doesn't make any sense to play until that late in December. I'm sure they'll make the right decision." When pressed again about the long-term impact of playing 2 matches in 3 days, he clarified his stance. "As I said before, I'm confident the league will apply the right principles, to prioritize the players first, then the supporters, and to make sure things remain fair for all clubs." In other words, Arteta's position has been consistent. His hierarchy, players first, then fans, reflects the practical realities of management. From a sporting point of view, that's not unreasonable. His job ultimately is to give Arsenal the best chance of winning matches, and playing 2 high-intensity games within 72 hours would compromise that goal while increasing injury risks. That said, the disruption to fans is real and shouldn't be dismissed. Arsenal have tried to mitigate the damage, offering affordable coach travel to Merseyside. It's not an afterthought. The club has made similar efforts before. For instance, earlier this season they organized a chartered train service for the trip to Manchester. The pilot program was later cancelled due to low uptake, but supporters were refunded, and coach travel was again arranged at less than half the train fare. Still, some pointed to restrictions on alcohol consumption on those buses as a reason for the lack of enthusiasm among travelers. A small but telling example of the balancing act clubs face between fan experience and logistical responsibility. As someone traveling to Liverpool on the new date to cover the match, it's easy to empathize with supporters' frustration. Plans are disrupted, and expenses add up. Yet, from a footballing standpoint, it's equally clear why the adjustment was necessary. In the end, the accusation that Arteta betrayed his words doesn't hold up. His comments were consistent with his role, a manager whose first duty is to protect his players and the team's ability to compete. While supporters deserve respect and consideration, ensuring player welfare, and by extension, the club's chances of success, inevitably comes first. The debate highlights a broader tension that runs through modern football, the struggle to balance fan experience with the relentless demands of the sporting calendar. For Arteta, it's not about choosing one over the other, but about finding a way to keep both sides moving in the same direction. The scheduling change has sparked broader discussions about fixture congestion and the growing disconnect between football authorities and match-going supporters. While the Premier League's decision ultimately favored Arsenal's sporting interests, it reignited long-standing frustrations among fans who feel that television broadcasters, rather than clubs or supporters, dictate the modern football calendar. Several supporter groups voiced their disapproval following the announcement. The Football Supporters Association, FSA, released a statement calling for greater transparency in fixture scheduling, emphasizing the financial and logistical strain late changes impose on fans. Once again, supporters are being treated as an afterthought, the statement read. When games are moved at short notice for broadcast or scheduling purposes, fans are left out of pocket. This has to change. These concerns have grown louder in recent years as fixture lists become increasingly congested, with Premier League clubs competing in multiple domestic and international competitions. December, in particular, is notorious for its relentless schedule, and managers have repeatedly warned that player fatigue and injuries are becoming inevitable outcomes of such intensity. Arteta's comments, prioritizing player welfare first, then fans, reflect a reality shared by many top-flight managers. Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and Erik ten Hag have all voiced similar frustrations about scheduling in recent months. Guardiola, after Manchester City's December fixtures were adjusted for television, remarked that the players are not machines, echoing the same sentiment that underpins Arteta's reasoning. Yet, despite the alignment among managers, fans often find themselves caught in the middle. They shoulder the financial and emotional burden of fixture changes while being told those changes are made in the name of fairness or player protection. In practice, those decisions often serve commercial partners first, particularly broadcasters who push for prime-time slots to maximize viewership. From Arsenal's perspective, the fixture change is undeniably beneficial. Playing Everton on the 20th instead of the 21st gives Arteta's side 2 full days of rest before the Carabao Cup quarter-final against Crystal Palace, an important fixture as the Gunners continue their pursuit of silverware on multiple fronts. It also reduces the risk of injuries at a time when the squad has been stretched thin by European and domestic commitments. Internally, sources close to the club maintain that the request for a schedule adjustment was made solely based on player welfare and sporting integrity, not with disregard for supporters. Arsenal's communication staff are said to have worked closely with fan liaison officers to ensure alternative travel options were available, though they acknowledge that such measures can never fully compensate for the inconvenience caused. Meanwhile, the Premier League defended its decision, citing the need to maintain competitive balance across the fixture list. A league spokesperson explained that changes of this nature are reviewed on a case-by-case basis, and that input from clubs, broadcasters, and local authorities is taken into account. However, critics argue that such explanations have become formulaic, offering little real comfort to fans who consistently bear the consequences of late scheduling shifts. The ripple effects of this incident extend beyond Arsenal. Supporter groups from other clubs have pointed to it as yet another example of how fan priorities are sidelined in the modern game. There are renewed calls for an independent review of fixture planning and for a minimum notice period before changes are approved, proposals that have circulated for years but never gained traction. For Arteta, however, the matter seems settled. His focus remains on maintaining squad fitness and momentum heading into a decisive period of the season. While the debate over priorities will continue, his stance, that the health and performance of players must come first, reflects a pragmatic, if unpopular, truth in modern football. In the end, the controversy around Arsenal's fixture change underscores a growing divide between the business of football and the experience of football. Managers like Arteta operate in a results-driven environment where every decision is judged by points and trophies. Fans, on the other hand, live the consequences of those decisions, in time, travel, and loyalty. The real challenge for English football now lies in bridging that gap, ensuring that the pursuit of success on the pitch doesn't come at the expense of the very people who fill the stands.